matchups are. The division series begins tomorrow, both in the American League and National League. We are going to talk with Danon Hughes. We'll talk a little Chiefs football at 12:15. We'll talk Big Ten football with Mike Hall from the Big Ten Network. That will be at 12:30. So we've got Claibs and Paulie with us. So guys, let's first start here, because the big news from the week, other than the Chaim Bloom press conference, which happened, we got our introduction to him. We saw the end of the Cardinals season on Sunday, but we also have heard about Albert Pujols, who looks to be potentially, and maybe the favorites to be, the next manager of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So I know, Matt, you probably deal with a lot of phone calls on Sports Open Line and Rush Hour Sports and all of your shows. People would love to see Albert in the Cardinals dugout, or Yadier Molina in the Cardinals dugout. What are your thoughts on Albert being with the Angels if that does end up happening?
Yeah, I think he's built to be. When I compare the two, and I think kind of start checking the boxes, I think Albert Pujols has the opportunity to be a really good major league manager. Now, that doesn't mean the Cardinals have a manager, and there's no need to move on from him. And I think that's, you do things the right way. And Oliver Marmol had been given assurances that he would be back. You're not going to all of a sudden go back and change things out. But I think they're two different things. I know a lot of Cardinals fans just love the idea of Albert Pujols as Cardinals manager. That's not something that's going to happen right away. So having the conversation about Pujols as a manager, I love it for him. It's something he's talked about wanting to do. There's probably a lot to it that he doesn't completely understand, that this is the job and this was it takes. So he gets the opportunity to jump in. It's so Angels. You think about Artie Moreno and how he loves to have as many big name people involved in that organization as possible. So I just look at it as two different things. Like I don't really connect it so much to the Cardinals. I'm just happy for if Pujols decides to take that job and he's offered for it, I'm happy for him.
We had this texter who, wrote into the show yesterday about Ted Williams. And he said, Ted Williams' record as a manager wasn't all that good. And I think the point is that a manager is his success very much depends on the roster he has. And I do think there are probably people who look at this 2025 team and think, oh, yeah, I mean, if they had Albert or if they had Yachty, the things would have gone a whole lot better. But that's just, it just isn't true. I cannot see it being the case, no matter how smart of baseball people Albert and Yachty are. Claibs, there's just no way that the results would have been that much different had one of them been the manager of this past year.
I would agree with you. I guess when I hear people talk about having one of them, if not both of them, in the Cardinal dugout, I'm trying to figure out, why do they think it's going to be better? If you give anybody this roster, you probably lose 100 games. If you give anybody this roster who's never managed in the big leagues, you probably lose 115. I mean, it's not as easy as it appears. I mean, this is a team that used the fewest amount of players off the 40-man roster than any team in baseball. They didn't make any trades or acquisitions per se in the season. They made one right before the season started. So for anyone to think that somebody's going to do a better job than Ollie Marmol, who's never managed, I would say that they probably ought to take a deep dive in why they think that. And let's take the playing skill off the field, okay? Because they're not playing anymore. They're not going to call a game as a catcher. They're not going to DH. So they have to do the other things. And I'm not saying that they can't, but for somebody, just because they love the way they played, that doesn't always translate to how well they're going to manage.
And I give Albert credit. He went and managed in the Dominican Winter League. But managing the Dominican Winter League and managing Major League Baseball are two very different things. He had signed up to be the Dominican manager for the upcoming World Baseball Classic. He obviously won't do that if he gets the Angels job. I just think it's two totally different conversations to have. I'm not worried about Albert Pujols being connected to the Cardinals. I'm happy for him getting an opportunity potentially, but I mean, Claibs and I are very like-minded on this. Oliver Marmol's the right guy for the Cardinals, and he's done a really nice job. And the team won more games than they should have based off the roster this year.
No. And, I'm glad to hear that Chaim Bloom is going to give him at least one more. I think he needs more than one. but at least they'll be able to work in unison. And I'm pretty sure Hein Bloom is going to make a deal of some sort to improve the ball club, whether it's signing someone in free agency or making a trade. I can assure you of this. The roster that we ended the season with will not be the roster we start spring training with or opening day with.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of differences there. I'm really cannot wait to see how they approach this and the direction they go, because this is an off season where not just for the Cardinals, but there are going to be a lot of teams around baseball that are going to make changes. And by the way, the Mets just in the last hour have dismissed almost their entire coaching staff, with the exception of Carlos Mendoza. He's going to stick around as the as the manager, but they have fired their pitching coach, their hitting coach. They fired their bench coach. And I guess that's what happens when you have a $350 or so million payroll and you don't make the playoffs. And that's the reason, one of the big reasons the Reds got into the postseason in that wild card round.
Didn't we see the same thing happening with the White Sox recently? I mean, they wiped out everybody but their manager for the most part. And, it's unfortunate that sometimes the coaches take the gaff in those situations. But I guess they figure they need to show someone that, we mean business and we're trying. It's interesting where, you hear about certain players don't like certain coaches or they don't like the way they coach. And I always go back to this and ask myself the question, okay, where did you win at? Where you feel like you know what it takes to be a winning player. And I'll start locally. I know you had some coaches, some players that didn't like the way some coaches coach. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what room were you in where these guys were winning, where you had the trophy in your hand? So, it's a player's game, and the players, have an impact on who goes and who stays. And sometimes I'm not sure if that's all right.
It's an uncomfortable situation for a manager when your boss comes in and fires everybody that you're the boss of. And for Carlos, look, there's only 30 major league managerial jobs. And when you lose one, there's never a guarantee that you're going to get one again. So I get Carlos Mendoza just kind of dealing with the situation that's been given to him. But it is very uncomfortable in that spot where all of a sudden this group of individuals that you have been leading, every single one of them gets let go essentially. And now who's going to be making those hires of who's coming in? It's not an easy thing to deal with.
There are very few guys who are managers or have managed that would say, you know what, I'm not doing this. I'll wait for a better opportunity to show up. Because I mean, if you're Mendoza, you don't really have much of a choice there. Let me ask you this before we get to break here, and we need to bring in Danon Hughes. But this texter to the show at 314-436-7900, and I hear this a lot too. And he says, or they say, you would fill a lot more seats with Albert or Yachty if those guys are the manager, and is what the text message is saying. I don't think people pay. I don't think they buy tickets to watch the manager manage.
No, I agree. We'll go one step further. Other than him bringing out the lineup card or making a pitching change or argue with an umpire, at what point do you see him that makes you go back to the glory days of one of these players? I mean, they're managing. They're not hitting third. They're managing. Mm-hmm. They're not catching a one hitter. Okay, and we have to decide. We have to decipher the two. And for some reason, people think that's a deal maker. I just don't. I don't get that. I really don't. I mean, they're doing a different job, and I'm not saying they can't. But if you're telling me you're going to buy a ticket to go see a guy take a lineup card out, then again, it's your choice to buy for whatever reason you want to. If that's what gets you in the seat for 81 nights a year, okay, come on down. I don't think enough people have that sort of feeling about something like that.
Yeah, I agree with Claves. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to our texter, but it's ridiculous. You're going to sell 17 more tickets because Albert Pujols is your like, it's just when Yadier Molina was in the bench for that weekend, they didn't sell more tickets because of that. But let's throw that to the side. Let's go to a hypothetical world where it did. You sold tens of thousands of more tickets because Albert Pujols is the manager. Let's pretend that's true for a second. If you're president of baseball operations is making moves because he wants to put butts in the seats and not because he wants to win ball games, then he should be fired immediately. It's not Chaim Bloom's job to fill up seats or to do jobs where the second domino is fill up seats. Chaim Bloom is going to build a roster. That roster is going to start winning games. You keep pushing down the dominoes. Eventually, more people show up. But if a move is being made just because you want more people to show up, that is a bad president of baseball operations. That's a bad roster builder, and that's somebody who should not be in their role.
Ultimately, the job of professional athletes and professional sports teams is to entertain. This is entertainment. Baseball is entertainment. But the best way that you can entertain people and get them to the ballpark is by winning. That's it. So Chaim Bloom's job is to make this team a winner. So I completely agree with you on that. Matt Pauley, thanks for joining us for a bit here. We appreciate you as always. We'll talk to you next week. You've got Rush Hour Sports at 5 o'clock tonight.
Yep, and then Sports Open Line, full night tonight. Sports
Open Line from 6 until 8. Listen in to Rush Hour Sports and Sports Open Line. It all starts at 5 o'clock on 104.1 FM KMOX. Mike Claiborne and Chris Ranji. When we come back, we'll talk to former receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs and current radio analyst Danon Hughes as the Chiefs play the Jaguars on Monday night. Danon is next on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife, Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Stop smoking. Lose weight now without craving, irritability, or your money back. Early bird special, only $49.99 guaranteed. Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight.
Me now?
Smoking. Feel great for only $49.99 guaranteed. Saturday, October 18th at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Registration, 10:30.
Hello.
Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com. That's right, markpatrickseminars.com.
Hello.
To Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Hello.
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign
Hey, can you hear me?
and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter
Testing,
protection
1, 2,
system.
3, 4,
So I
5.
didn't
Oh,
need to
okay.
get on this ladder?
All right.
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Dave, congratulations on your 25th anniversary from BioBalance Health, Dr. Sullivan, and me personally.
You have single-handedly helped us reach hundreds of new patients, both men and women, over the past 15 years. Since 2010, BioBalance has been treating men and women over the age of 40 with testosterone pellets and preventative medicine.
BioBalance Health was the first medical hormone pellet practice in St. Louis. Now we are the most successful.
Dave has not only been our partner at BioBalance Health, but also our patient and great friend.
Thanks, Dave.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. The countdown to kickoff starts here. Friday's Focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL, only on KMOX.
Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, Saliga Heating and Cooling.com. Mike Claiborne, Chris Ranji, and it is time to go to the guest line this afternoon. We bring in former receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs and current radio analyst. He calls the games along with Mitch Holthus, and he's with us now. His name is Danon Hughes, joining us on a Friday before the Chiefs will play on Monday. Danon, how you doing?
Doing all right. How you guys doing? It's good to come off of a win, 2 straight wins here in the Chiefs Kingdom, and we got to go down to Duval County and get the job done down there. So I'm excited about the weekend coming up, not necessarily excited about the weather that we're supposed to have down there, but hey, the other team's got to play in it too, so we'll be all right.
So, Danon, what's been the biggest difference? I know you guys had some injuries early in the season. Is that one of the reasons why you guys have found a little bit more continuity, especially offensively?
Yeah, I think that's one aspect, to have Xavier Worthy back. He had only played 3 snaps in the Chargers game before getting injured. And I also think that, maybe this year's version of the Chiefs are not going to win 11 straight one-score games like we saw over the past couple of seasons. Maybe this team, we recognize that when we play close games, maybe we'll be more like the normal that's around the NFL. Well, we might be 50-50. Who knows? We just got to be able to do what we do. But having Xavier Worthy back is a huge boost. And if you look at the numbers last week, and I know people want to kind of negate some of that because of the status of the Ravens and their injuries, but they're another NFL team. They have pride, they have identity, and they showed up, and we were the better football team. But when you look at Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce had 5 catches. Hollywood Brown had his first touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster had his first touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco had his first passing touchdown or receiving touchdown. Guys are making plays when we have that kind of speed on the field. So, yeah, to some extent, having him back was a huge boost. But I also think that there was a lot made about the 2 losses that maybe just a little bit too much, overcooking. To lose by 6 points to a Chargers team that was undefeated going into last week, to lose by 3 points to the defending Super Bowl champs, it's week 1 and week 2. And I think what we've seen now is that there's some normalcy and parity that's going around in the NFL, and maybe we're not as bad as people thought.
Well, that's what I was going to say next, Danon, is that when they were 0-2, obviously there are people, Chiefs fans or Chiefs haters, who want to see them lose, or Chiefs fans who think, oh, no, this is it. They're done now. But I mean, they were much better than an 0-2 team, right? And I mean, to me, what I said was this is going to be a playoff team at the end of the year. So I don't know what people are freaking out about, because they will be back in the playoffs.
So take away the top 2 receivers from any team in the NFL and tell me what their record would have been in the first 3 weeks. I mean, if you take away Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, even if they have Joe Burrow healthy, they're probably 1-2, maybe 0-3. I think that's uniform. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, even though they don't throw the ball very well and haven't been as efficient as many Eagles fans would like, take those 2 guys off the field and tell me what their record would be. That's where, when you talk about maybe making a lot of noise about nothing, to me, that's a perfect example of that. You have Rashee Rice that won't be back until week 7, and we lost Xavier Worthy on the 3rd play of the first game of the season in Brazil. Give us another body of work, whether it's the 2nd quarter of the season, which we're starting this week on Monday night, and then make some judgments. I think there's maybe 2 lofty judgments on good teams in the first 4 weeks, and maybe too many times we throw away some really good teams out with the trash because they don't start fast. And I'd rather be the best team in January than the best team in September. Like there's some teams in the league, I think you guys probably can attest, that we've seen the best that they could offer. And it's only week 5. We've seen the best that they could ever be. And they're just hoping to be able to sustain that the rest of the year while we're still climbing and getting better. And I'd rather be in that position.
Hey, Dana, one of the things that we always used to talk about when you talk about offense is establishing the running game. You just don't see as many 100-yard rushers every Sunday like you used to. So is that attributed to the fact that maybe we've extended the short passing game a little bit more, where the receivers are now basically a little bit more than what we used to see with the Bill Walsh offense, where we just extended the handoff a little bit more? Are we seeing more of that, and we selling out more to the passing game and foregoing the running game until it gets tough in the season?
I absolutely agree with that. I think the increase in bubble screens and pop screens and middle screens that you're seeing with wide receivers and tight ends is the new running game in the NFL. And I understand it. What you're trying to do is, because these athletes are so fast, they're not the big thumpers like you used to have at the linebacker position or the strong safety positions that are lining up in the box at 225-pound safeties like Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith. You don't have those guys. What you have is a lot of speed. So in order to negate that speed, what do you have to do? Force the defense to play 52 yards wide as opposed to just 20 yards inside the hashes, and utilize our speed against their speed. And with great results, you're seeing a lot of teams, whether it's the Buffalo Bills, what they're able to do and you guys know, if I get a defense to look sideways, never mind move sideways, but it just looks sideways, that's when I'll be able to hit them up in the middle. And if I get them looking in the middle, then I can take advantage of them out on the perimeter. So that's, I think, the method for a lot of teams is to utilize their speed and the components of their offense to get them the ball quickly. And instead of just turning around, handing it to a guy and hoping that he breaks a couple of tackles, get it out to somebody in space. And if they can get 4 yards on the first down of a bubble screen, that's equivalent to a run game and getting 4 yards. So I feel like that's where we are in this NFL. And utilizing that speed in open spaces is key. Now, I will say this Jaguars team is kind of a throwback to what we grew up in and what I grew up specifically with Marty Schottenheimer as my coach back in the 90s. They run the ball well with Travis Etienne leading the NFL with over 6 yards per carry. And they're throwing the ball quickly, so Trevor Lawrence isn't getting hit as much as he used to. And they're taking the ball away on defense, +9 in the giveaway takeaway. They've caused 13 turnovers this season in just 4 games. So, yeah, they're a throwback. It's probably an anomaly at their success and how they're doing it. But I think, to your question, what we're seeing in this NFL is more about stretching the field 52 yards wide as opposed to just running between the tackles.
Well, here's another bigger picture NFL question. And does the league need to do something about the fact these place kickers are ridiculously good now? And you just saw Chase McLaughlin with a 65-yarder. He's kicking a field goal from his own 45. And it's like, all you got to do is get to midfield and you can let's just kick the ball from here. It's way too easy to get a field goal. So
no, it's not. No,
you don't think so?
No, it's not. No, and I'm going to tell you why.
Unless you're the Bears of a kicker.
Well, there's going to always be 1 or 2 guys that are going to stand out. But I think it's easier to block a kick when you're kicking from that far. The trajectory is just so low that's how you block a kick. And all of a sudden you get one block. Either they return it, or if you recover it, now all of a sudden you have to play defense with a short field. So I don't think it looks as prevalent as some people might think. You're going to have 1 or 2 guys break through, but I don't think we're going to have a kick rush here where everybody's going to be able to kick them from 65 yards.
And even if they do, I feel like it's the tush push is a whole different dynamic. I was on my radio show last night talking about ways to how that should not be allowed in the game of football, or ways to counter that if you can't officiate it. But we saw a block kick last night in the game that wind up costing the Rams in that game. So I think to both of your points, there are guys that are stronger, more athletic, that can kick the ball through the uprights from 50, 60. We expect 50-plus yarders back in the day when we were hoping that you would be able to make a 50-plus yarder. Now it's expected. But on the flip side, is if you miss or if it's blocked, like we saw with the Eagles last week, they kick, block, and return to win a game. Multiple teams wind up winning on missed kicks or block kicks over the past few weeks. You're rolling the dice on field position. Just last week, heck, the Chiefs, we tried a field goal before halftime, and it wound up being wide right, I believe. That one, I think he was wide left. And the Ravens got the ball, good field position, moved the ball into field goal position, went up into halftime with the field goal on the board. And fortunately, we were able to come out in the second half and score some touchdowns, but that could have been game-changing as well. So even though guys are stronger, you still roll the dice on field position and potential blocks.
Danon Hughes, go punch him in the mouth. We'll talk to you again next week.
Let's do it. Monday night, hitting people in the mouth in Duval County. Let's do it.
Thanks, Danon.
All right, no problem.
Danon Hughes, Chiefs radio analyst, former wide receiver, with us every week on Friday here on 104.1 FM KMOX. When we come back, Mike Hall is a Mizzou grad, works for the Big Ten Network. We'll talk Mizzou football, and I guess we can get into some Illini too. We get to college football discussion with Mike Hall next on KMOX.
Do you like the word thorough? It's a good word, thorough. It means complete, accurate, detailed. Well, when you go to Ophthalmology Associates, you will get a thorough eye examination. The technology is incredible. It's all up to date, the very latest. And Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, and Royer and their staff will make your visit very personal. That's because they believe every patient is unique. Ophthalmology Associates takes all the research and technology and their personal knowledge and expertise and tailor it into an eye care plan that is as unique as you are. Services include everything from expert treatment of cataracts and retinas to comprehensive eye exams for you and the kids, and a full-service optical shop with a ton of frames to choose from. Ophthalmology Associates, 3 St. Louis area locations. Visit youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And FanDuel is coming to Missouri. So on December 1st, you'll finally be able to bet on all your favorite teams in all your favorite sports. And with FanDuel, there are just a ton of ways to get in on the action. You can bet on everything from the money line to over-unders to which team's going to win it all at the end of the season. And with live betting, you can make it more immediate. You can even pick which player is going to score the next touchdown, and then the one after that, and the one after that, and so on. And I can't tell you how excited I am because I love FanDuel. I've been with them since they launched their daily fantasy games, and I've been using the FanDuel Sportsbook for years now when I've been in states that allow me to play. Well, coming December 1st, Missouri is one of those states. Now you and I, we can experience FanDuel in the comfort of our own homes. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and older and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Partly sunny, 85 degrees. We're going to have a high today of 90.
Hey Dave, it's Tamara, the flavor temptress, and your good friend from Clementine's Ice Cream. I just wanted to say congratulations on 25 years. Not only are you the sexiest man in daytime radio, but you're probably the only man with the best looking feet. Here's to the next 25. Cheers to you, my friend.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, it is college football season right now. The Fighting Illini will play against Purdue. That will be tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And Mizzou, they're playing as well. And this has been a really good start for both of these teams, despite the fact that Illinois had that real bad one the other day. It was not good. Actually, Mizzou doesn't play until next week. They got Alabama. But let's talk about college football now with Mike Hall with the Big Ten Network, also a Missouri grad, and he joins us now on 104.1 FM KMOX. How's it going, Mike Hall?
My apologies to Mike, but I mean, tell me Chris isn't the best combination of sexy voice and handsome look in all of radio. I mean,
don't ask
you
Claiborne.
get to stare at him all the time.
I'm
He's
sorry.
beautiful.
Chris who? Chris who? Chris who?
He's talking about
Are
me.
we talking you?
Yeah,
me.
Oh,
me.
Ron, yeah.
You know what? Can I take a hard pass on that?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, of course, man. It's your show.
No, I know. You know, we share the show, and I don't know when the last time Mike had a chance to see you, so I'm just not sure what he's basing.
It's been a minute.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
All right.
So Illinois, that was a. I know we talked about the game, a couple of weeks ago, and it did not go particularly well for them. But they're still 4-1. They've got Purdue, a 2-2 team coming up here. What is the overall feeling about the Illini now, dropping to 22 in the rankings after being there in the top 10 for a brief bit?
Well, I mean, I'll say the loss to Indiana was an absolute beatdown, but I genuinely think this is one of the least reported on stories in sports of the last decade or so. Indiana football. Yeah. They have been garbage for forever. They have more losses than any team in college football history. And they were in the playoff last year. They deserved it. They beat teams by like 25 points a game last year. It happened in Chris Cignetti's first year there, and he's doing it again. Like, they were under the radar last year for obvious reasons, but this year coming into it, it was still like, well, who's going to be the Indiana of this year? It's going to be Indiana again. I mean, it's crazy. Think if Duke suddenly got great at football. Like, that's what we're watching, and it's multiple years in. So I don't think the loss for Illinois, and it was a bad loss to Indiana, is more about Illinois. I think it's more about Indiana, and that they're probably a playoff team once again. Now, the hopes for Illini fans, as you both well know, was that they could be a playoff team too. So the fact that it wasn't even a close game is what's concerning, but their season's nowhere near done. Like, USC looked really good the first month, and Illinois beat them without a perfect game. I think Hank Beatty has turned into a reliable wide receiver for Luke Altmaier, and that was maybe the biggest question coming into the year for Illinois is Altmaier going to have someone reliable to throw to? I still think I've been telling some people on the studio this, like, it's not a massive record that will grab the country's attention, but for a Illini fan, it's a big deal. I think he's going to break the program record for touchdown passes. It was Kittner with 27. He's already got 11, and 2/3 of the season still to go. I still think they've got a great shot at making one of the lower teams in the playoff. They got to have things go their way still, and they can't have anything close to that Indiana outcome again, but it's still possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I think the fact that Illinois' schedule gets tougher and they're going to have to rely on their running game a little bit more, maybe those passing opportunities won't be there because now everybody's going to have to play somebody tougher than what they played 2 months ago. And when you think about the schedule, Illinois takes a beat down early. Purdue's had a couple of bumps in the road. That's behind them. You can lose early in the season and still find your way in the playoffs.
Totally. And if you look at their schedule, right, so they got Purdue, which if they're a borderline playoff team, they should beat. Then it's Ohio State. So obviously that's going to be hard. However, it is in Champaign. That stadium is jam-packed. Again, it's a great place to watch a game, but it's not always full, and now it is. So let's say worst case scenario, they lose at Ohio State. Every other game, you got to feel pretty good about, right? At Washington's going to be hard, but that's their last hard game. Then they got Rutgers at home, Maryland at home, Wisconsin on the road, Northwestern at home. So could they be a 10-2 team? It might depend on how tough that loss is to Ohio State or how good Washington can be after they beat them, but it's still possible they could have those high dreams.
Talking with Mike Hall of the Big Ten Network, and as I mentioned, also a graduate of Mizzou, and that team looks really good. They're going to take this week off here, but then they'll have Alabama, and 3 of their next 4 games are against ranked opponents. So as you see the Missouri Tigers in through now 4 games of the season or 5 games of the season, what are your thoughts on them?
I didn't know this Hardy cat was that good. I mean, I didn't realize how good he was, man. I followed Bo Pribula because he came from Penn State, right? So I followed him all the way back when he was being recruited. And he was a guy, if I'm being 100% honest, Chris, I mostly knew about him on signing day because his name was fun, right? Like he was not a 5-star kid. He was now a 4-star kid. He was a 3-star prospect that Penn State was like, yeah, we think we can develop him. We think maybe he's a little under-ranked, but the guy we love is this Drew Aller guy, right? Drew Aller was a top 5 quarterback nationally in his class. Pribula was just a fun name to say, but I remember covering him. I remember watching him on signing day, talking about him, and he's kind of slowly taking his time, and he was in that really tough spot last year because of the messed up transfer portal schedule that he had to make a decision. Does he leave before Penn State is eliminated from the playoff? And he goes to Mizzou. And as you guys all know, he wasn't even guaranteed the starting spot week 1, but that early injury happens. He takes over. He's playing really well. I thought he would be a pretty good quarterback. I just didn't think Hardy would be this good. And the fact that he is kind of changes the game for Missouri. I mean, what is he? It's like 150 yards a game, something like that, that Ahmad is rushing for. Now, will that continue against Alabama? And to your point, Vanderbilt and A&M and Oklahoma, we'll find out. But so far, so good.
You know, I'm kind of the belief if he can get half of those yards against these other good teams, I think that's a plus for Missouri. I just, when you look at the scheduling, and Mike, you've seen how these schedules work out. Those first 3 or 4 games, you should be crushing people. Now, right. South Carolina was a different animal. They were an SEC team. They lost to Vanderbilt, who everybody's saying, oh, maybe they are that good. So overall, when you start getting into that real deep conference play, those gaudy numbers you put up, if he's rushing for 150, if he gives me 85 and 90, those are the real hard yards you're getting out of the SEC, or for another case, the Big Ten. Watch that schedule tighten up.
Right. No, I totally agree. And like Chris brought up that their next game is Alabama, right? To me, if you're going to win that game, it's not about Hardy and it's not about Pribula. It's about their defense. Like that team can pass the ball. They play really well. Their momentum is on their side. That brutal start to the year seems like it was an entire season ago. I think they've got that confidence back that they are Alabama. So to me, I think it's more of a mental thing and a defense thing. If they can step up against Bama, and that's another instance where, right, it's in Columbia. That's a place that also maybe not historically is entirely sold out, but it's going to be totally sold out and rocking for that game against the Tide. It's just really fun. I mean, you guys in St. Louis, isn't it fun that both major colleges have legit football teams? How often has that happened ever?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. I don't know the last time it's happened, but to what, you 2 hours east, you can see a good football team. Hour and a half, 2 hours west, same deal. It does not happen very often.
Awesome. It's awesome.
So also, ESPN has their SP Plus numbers, and they've got Mizzou number 2 in terms of best odds to win the SEC behind Ole Miss right now. What do you think of that?
I'm going to be honest, you don't have to explain what SP Plus is.
It's their it's like their playoff prediction, their advanced metrics stuff. Don't you love their advanced metrics rankings?
I hate all that stuff, buddy.
What?
It drives me crazy. To me, the least favorite thing is when they show you, like, look at this graph of the odds of winning, and then it went high, and then it went low. Yeah, because a score happened, and that changed the odds. What are you talking about? That's how it works. Like, those things drive me absolutely nuts. I stopped a few years ago. I was like, I made a concerted effort to try to learn them and to try to figure out why it's valued. And I'm like, no, it's not for me.
All right, well, just take this away. They think that Mizzou has the second best opportunity to win the conference. What do you think?
I'm surprised by that.
Ole Miss.
I mean,
they've got here's how they've got it. They've got Ole Miss, Mizzou, Oklahoma, Alabama, Vandy, Texas. That's how they've got it.
Wow, that's not even counting Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's way down there. They're like
hold on. Georgia loses to Alabama, and that was a great win for Alabama. And now all of a sudden we're going to kick them to the curb. Has
I
anybody
guess they are.
seen their body of work over the last few years? See, this is why you can't really buy into this ranking thing in the wagering thing, because nobody's watching the games and seeing who's out there. Nobody's paying attention to who's hurt and who's not. Well, maybe the bettors are. Some of them are. But I just think, man, we get carried away just because a guy has a couple of hot weekends against a couple of blood donors, and all of a sudden you think they're bowl eligible? Come on.
I'll tell you this, Chris. If Mizzou looks great next week against Alabama, I wouldn't be surprised that they could be a number 2 favorite to win it all. If they lose by 10 or more to Alabama, I don't think we'll be hearing that chatter the entire rest of the season, no matter what they do, unless they go undefeated the rest of the way.
Last thing for you, Mike. My understanding is you now have a solution to fix the NFL and college overtime rules, something you thought of,
Yes.
what, today?
Yesterday,
okay.
I had this brainstorm, and I was like, whose time can I waste on this idea? Wait, what if Ronzi calls and says, come on my show?
Yeah.
And I thought, that's perfect.
There you go.
I can waste his time. Okay, so what do we not like about college overtime? It's stupid. It's a drill. It's random 2-yard plays back and forth. It's not real football. It's not an extension of the game. It's not a way to actually determine a winner. What do we not like about the NFL overtime? The fact that you can still have a tie. So why did we go to the NFL switch? Because people were tired that teams didn't each get a chance to score. Okay, here's my new plan. Hear me out, then call me an idiot, all right? Here's how it works. Game ends in a tie. You flip a coin. Whoever wins the coin flip decides if they get to go first or second with the ball, but both sides will get a chance to have the ball. The first team that gets a chance to score has to do it via kickoff. So it's not a drill. You're getting the ball just like you're starting the game. You got to march down the field. If they score, the second team has to beat them when they get the ball. So here's how it works. Let's say the first team gets the ball. They march a couple first downs, but they don't score. They punt it away to the other team. Because the first team didn't score, all the second team has to do is get a field goal, and they win. Let's say the first team marches down and kicks a field goal. The second team cannot kick a field goal when they get the ball. They have to score a touchdown. If the first team scores a touchdown, they cannot go for 2. They have to kick the extra point, and the second team has to go for 2. So in all of these scenarios that I laid out, the game will end in 2 possessions with a clear winner. Now, the only wrench to be thrown in this is what if both teams don't score? To me, then we go to sudden death. Whoever scores first, that's the winner. You automatically have a winner. You eliminate a random drill to determine who wins the game. And in most times, the games will end in 2 possessions. Thank you. I will take all my money now, please.
Well, I have one question. It sounds like you're penalizing the guy who loses the coin toss.
Why?
Well, because he has to do more when he gets the ball. The first time
he gets the opportunity, because that's what I like about it. Is I think their strategy. I think some people would prefer to have the ball first, and some people would prefer to have the ball second, because then you have more information on what you need to do.
I'll tell you what, man.
I'm going to sleep.
I'll tell you.
I'm going to sleep on this one.
Here's Mike. I'm going to think about this, but here's what I'm going to tell you. If it's your idea, I'm kind of like I lean toward just going with it. Just whatever it is, just go with it.
That's
Mike,
right
I don't know
buddy.
you as well as Chris. I don't know you as well as Chris, so give me time to chew on it a little bit. I like your direction, though. I like your direction.
I appreciate
because
the
you know
way
Chris,
both of you both gently humored me, and I genuinely appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But because you know Chris and the manner that you do, that kind of concerns me with regard to your judgment. So let me sleep on this one.
Listen, Dream Job, we appreciate you. Thanks for being on the show today.
You're the best, buddy. Talk to you soon, guys.
Mike Hall, Big Ten Network, with us here on 104.1 FM KMOX. He's amazing. All right, another segment to go with Mike Claiborne here, and we are glad you are with us on the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. But you should know that coming up next, coming up soon, I should say, December 1st, FanDuel will be available. Sports betting will be available in Missouri. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. It's coming to the state starting in December, so less than 2 months away, and it's a great time of year for that because you got college and pro football, basketball, hockey. It's all going on, and FanDuel gives you tons of ways to get in on that action. You can bet money line, bet futures like most valuable player, or who might win the championship or just the division. However you want to bet, it's available for you with FanDuel. You can even do some live betting, which can be a lot of fun. You can pick the player you think will score the next touchdown as the game is going on, or the touchdown after that. And it's really fun to just try and predict what's happening while you are watching any game. So download the FanDuel app now. You got some time to get familiar with it, learn how it works. It is super easy, super intuitive, and that app, again, will be live to use in Missouri starting December 1st. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Lombardo Homes welcomes you to the Village at Twin Creeks in Cottleville. Grand opening Saturday, October 18th. This exclusive community features just 9 estate-sized home sites with floor plans ranging from 2,600 to 4,000 square feet. The Village at Twin Creeks offers the perfect blend of luxury and lifestyle and is walking distance to quaint shops and restaurants on Main Street. Located west of Highway N and north of St. Charles Street, this is your chance to build the home you've always imagined in one of St. Charles County's most desirable locations. For more, visit LombardoHomes.com.
Hi, Debbie Monterey here with Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We've worked together for more than 5 years, and I've learned a lot about you and your business. Today, I actually found out a few things I didn't know, like your home sales stats. Compared to the average agent who sells less than 4 to 6 homes a year, you actually sell a home just about every other day. And even more impressive, your business has been built on giving back to our local community, including supporting St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Thank you. Every business should have a Go Serve Big initiative. When someone makes a referral, they're helping our communities, including St. Louis Children's Hospital, which is very special to me and my family because they helped me when I had my son many years ago. Today, sellers want to sell with certainty in this uncertain market. My upfront written guarantees are my secret to selling your home fast and for top dollar.
Friends, the secret is out. Call Gloria now at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with KMOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss a down, listen to the Chiefs on KMOX or KMOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Some folks treat retirement planning like cleaning out the garage. They'll get to it someday. Well, someday comes fast. I'm Gary Goldberg, and for 37 years, I've been helping people get their financial house in order so retirement doesn't feel like a garage sale. At Financial and Tax Strategies, I help you retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Give me a call, 800-966-1690, or visit us at checkwithgary.com. Let's make someday today.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial, Inc., an FFC registered investment advisor.
Sunday afternoon, the NFL is on KMOX. The Lions, the Bengals.
Siteman Cancer Center game time, 2:45. Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Lions, the Bengals on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Gashouse Gang about to wrap up here, and it is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Mike Claiborne and Chris Ranji. Claibs, the playoffs are happening. We are now to the division series, so all 8 teams are going to play tomorrow. We are, the baseball's just plugging away here. Cubs and Brewers will start the play tomorrow at 1, then Yankees, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Phillies, Tigers and Mariners. So who do you like here in both leagues?
Well, I like Seattle to move to the World Series, and I like Philadelphia to move to the World Series. That doesn't mean that the Cubs and Brewers won't make it an interesting series, but I just think when it comes down to pitching, both Seattle and Philadelphia probably have as good a pitching staff not only as starters, but bullpens as anybody else right now. So those are my two teams to be in the World Series, but I won't overlook the way they get there because they're going to be some pretty tough battles going on.
Yeah, the Phillies are pretty balanced. I mean, they're a pretty good team top to bottom. So I do like them to get to the series. The Yankees, they've had an incredible offense all year, and maybe that continues. The Blue Jays can hit too. The Cubs have been able to hit. So we'll see how the pitching stifles those, if at all. Those three teams are still going. You don't think much of the Brewers, right?
You know what? I would say I do. I respect what they've been able to do, but I will tell you, and I've told you this at the beginning of the year, I didn't expect them to be that good.
Nope.
They're really athletic. They do a lot of things well. They don't thump like they probably need to at this time of the year, but man, they run the bases well. They push the envelope. They know what to get the timely hit. And you know what? They pitch reasonably well. So I'm not going to overlook them. Good pitching always stops good hitting. And it's while the Cubs really had some good swings the other day, I don't know if they can keep that up.
Mike Claiborne, love doing it with you. We will do it again next Friday.
Can't wait. Enjoy your weekend.
That is Mike Claiborne. Have a great weekend, my friend. And we will be back with you on the Gashouse Gang on Monday. It'll be Tom Ackerman and me. We will get started at 12 o'clock. Hope you're there for that. And if you missed any of the show today with Claiborne and Chris Ranji, that's me, you can go find us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter at KMOX Sports, Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcast. Just search out the Gashouse Gang. Coming up next, it is the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why